preliminary numbers, it's not good.
The nomination of a new Supreme Court justice could bring a moment of bipartisanship to the Senate.
And in sports, the Ohio women's basketball team secured a big win on the road. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for the latest news impacting Southeastern Ohio. I'm Curtis Fader.
And I'm Jack Demler. A developer plans to open a Starbucks and a Chipotle on East State Street in Athens. The new restaurants would be located side by side just across the street from Walmart and Lowe's. The lot has been occupied by a used car dealer for the past couple years. The developer, RPG, is seeking approval from the Athens Planning Committee and City Council before it can begin construction. Construction on the two restaurants is expected to begin in the spring, with plans to open sometime between September and December.
The U.S. Department of Transportation is releasing a new strategy to reduce fatalities on the roads. The strategy comes as data shows deaths related to car crashes has increased dramatically over the last year. According to DOT data, about 20,000 people were killed in motor vehicle accidents in the first half of 2021. That's up 18% from the same period in 2020. Today's Secretary Pete Buttigieg said that this is now a national crisis.
We have for years been averaging almost 3,000 deaths per month on our roads. So added up in the last decade, we have lost more than 350,000 lives on America's roadways. We're going to be posting as a department our official fatality data for the third quarter of 2021. And I need to tell you,
the Transportation Department is investing billions of dollars to improve roadway safety. Programs and initiatives will focus on behavioral research, safety messaging, improvements to road and transportation design, and guidance on speed limiting setting, as well as leveraging technology to improve vehicle safety. Now let's head over to WOUB's Cam Cousineau with the first look at our weather.
Hi everybody, I'm Cam Cousineau. I hope you've been enjoying the cold weather so far. Right now in Athens, it is just below freezing and there are some cloudy skies ahead of some potential snow tonight. Sunset was at 5:43 p.m. and winds right now are calm but are expected to pick up slightly through the night as that precipitation begins. Across the area, we'll see temperatures mainly in the low 20s and high 30s once you get down south towards Arlington, where it is above freezing at 33 degrees. As well as these clouds, which are going to persist through the night and through a lot of tomorrow. And for the week ahead, there is going to be a steep temperature decline as some Arctic air begins to settle in, but some nicer and less cloudy weather later in the week, as well as a potential snow event tonight. Stay tuned for my full forecast to find out just how much. That's all I have. Back to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Cam. The Ohio Ethics Commission is asking state lawmakers to increase the penalties for people convicted of illegally giving money or gifts to legislators or other officials. The current law states that any gift over $500 is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a $1,000 fine. Ohio Ethics Commission Executive Director Paul Mix says he's requested higher fines and prohibiting those who break the law from having public contracts for 5 years. These penalties are for donors who are giving gifts not to lawmakers, who receive them.
And after nearly 28 years on the Supreme Court bench, Justice Stephen Breyer is retiring and giving Joe Biden his first opportunity to pick the new justice. The crucial decision will have a lasting impact, and with midterms coming up, Democrats are hoping to boost the party's prospects in November, as well as boost the Biden presidency. Daryl Forges has the latest.
Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer announcing his retirement Thursday.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The 83-year-old liberal stalwart's decision to step down, giving President Joe Biden his first opportunity to make a Supreme Court nomination.
I will select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency.
And fulfill a campaign promise to make history.
The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
The nomination, now expected to come by the end of February, will be one of the most consequential decisions of Biden's presidency.
Once I select a nominee, I will ask the Senate to move promptly on my choice.
But the confirmation process could be contentious. An evenly split Senate means every Democrat in the chamber will need to back the nominee if no Republicans get on board. With moderate Democratic Senator Joe Manchin signaling possible support for a justice more liberal than he is, there is hope of party unity and even bipartisanship, as previous nominees by Democratic presidents have always received at least some Republican votes.
Then it would be great if we could get some Republicans to be open-minded about it.
Breyer's nearly 3 decades on the court will come to a close at the end of the term in June, but he says he will remain seated until his successor is confirmed. I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
We'll continue to keep an eye on the story leading up to February and the crucial nomination.
Lawmakers and doctors are optimistic looking at the future of the pandemic.
And the first female president was elected in Honduras. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We realized there was a big problem along the border, and I don't think anybody realized just how big it was.
When people cross, they have to walk around the checkpoint, and this is where people die.
An illegal alien crosser is an illegal alien crosser.
I'm very worried because my cousin Juan has been missing for 3 days.
This is Eddie Canales of the South Texas Human Rights Center. I located a body.
Missing in Brooks County, Monday, January 31st at 10 on Independent Lens.
Diana was so relatable.
Utterly charming.
She had to claw her way towards the person that she wanted to be.
I'm only trying to highlight a problem that's going on all around the world.
Diana had an unconditional love that is extraordinarily rare. Love purely for the sake of love.
I'm not a political figure. I am a humanitarian figure, and always have been and always will be.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, there are lessons to be learned.
Actually, the bowl we used to use as our key bowl in my apartment in Brooklyn. So I don't think we should be throwing our keys in it.
And good news to share.
The best I can tell in the mounting is I would call it fancy yellow.
I like that.
You like that?
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Sands Point Preserve in Sands Point, New York.
He was a rebel, a lover, a champion, a fugitive, a legend, and forgotten. Until now. PBS and Ken Burns tell the story of the greatest boxer you never knew. Unforgivable blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson.
State agencies in Ohio could soon be able to hold meetings online. The proposed change comes after Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose exposed members of the state's redistricting commission to the virus. State agencies were allowed to meet online until last summer, when boards and commissions returned in person. State Senator Louise Blessing says the Senate has discussed allowing meetings to be held remotely for weeks amid the Omicron surge throughout the state. Blessing says the changes would allow state agencies to meet virtually through June 30th, and he hopes the change will be passed by the end of this week. The Ohio Department of Health is changing the way K-12 schools will notify parents about COVID cases within their buildings. ODH Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff says schools will no longer alert parents about individual COVID cases due to rapid spread of the Omicron variant. While school districts may stop universal contract tracing, they are expected to continue working with local health departments when needed. ODH does recommend masking indoors, with less than half of the state's current school districts currently having mask mandates. The Department of Health said earlier this month that they would prioritize schools when sending out rapid COVID tests, but now that might change. Vanderhoff says that communities with older people or those with underlying health conditions are the most at risk from the disease. And with the tests still at short supply for those populations, ODH is considering giving those communities top priority going forward. Vanderhoff says the goal was to send tests to K-12 schools to help keep them open, but with shifts in recent weeks, it may be best to send them to libraries and local health departments.
The U.S. is moving forward where COVID-19 is no longer a crisis, but rather something to protect against and treat. But health experts caution that we are not there yet. Mandy Gaither has more on where the U.S. stands in the war against COVID-19 in today's Health Minute.
It may be a light at the end of a dark tunnel.
I am more optimistic about the pandemic today than I have been since it was declared a pandemic nearly 2 years ago.
While COVID-19 deaths and hospitalizations are still high across the U.S., new cases seem to be receding in many states, down 20% overall. But not all states have reached their Omicron peak yet.
In another few weeks, the Omicron flash flood, not a wave, but a flash flood, will have largely passed.
But top U.S. health officials warn the U.S. is not there yet, with more than 600,000 cases and more than 2,300 deaths each day, according to Johns Hopkins University. The death rate 22% higher than a week ago, leaving officials distressed once again. The best way to protect against the severe outcomes of COVID-19 is to get vaccinated and boosted.
If you are boosted, you are 68 times less likely to die than if you are unvaccinated.
As it stands now, only about a quarter of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated and boosted. About 1 million vaccine doses are being given out every day. Most are boosters, according to the CDC.
We do need to hang on for just a few more weeks until the Omicron flood recedes so we don't overwhelm the hospitals.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Top U.S. health officials say that while we don't know what will come after the Omicron variant, we're in better shape than we've been in the past, thanks in part to better testing, vaccinations, masking, and treatment capabilities.
The Kremlin says the U.S. rejection of Russia's demands to resolve the crisis over Ukraine leaves little ground for optimism, but dialogue is still possible. Tensions have soared as the United States and its NATO allies express concern that a buildup of Russian troops near Ukraine signaled an invasion. Russia denies having any such plans and demands to improve the security in Europe, and the U.S. and the Western alliance rejected Moscow's main points on Wednesday. All eyes point to how President Vladimir Putin will respond.
There is a conflict in Ukraine. It is not going to be good for China either. There will be a significant impact on the global economy. There'll be a significant impact in the energy sphere, and it will be all the harder for all of us to get back to what we should be doing, which is building back better.
Xiomara Castro has been sworn in as Honduras' first female president. In her inauguration speech today, Castro criticized the outgoing administration for leaving her in a country heavily in debt, where poverty and a lack of opportunities have driven hundreds of thousands to migrate in recent years. Castro faces high expectations to turn around Honduras, but there is uncertainty over whether an unfolding legislation crisis will allow her the support she needs. Two congressional leadership teams are claiming control of the legislature, and experts say neither faction has been selected legitimately. The transition from 3G to 5G may impact you and your loved ones. That story's still ahead.
And snow is expected to begin tonight. Find out how much we're looking at and when we will finally get a break from winter weather during my full forecast after the break. But for now, let's have a look at some stocks of local interest.
We realized there was a big problem along the border, and I don't think anybody realized just how big it was.
When people cross, they have to walk around the checkpoint, and this is where people die.
An illegal alien crosser is an illegal alien crosser.
I'm very worried because my cousin Juan has been missing for 3 days.
This is Eddie Canales of the South Texas Human Rights Center. You located a body.
Missing in Brooks County, Monday, January 31st at 10 on Independent Lens.
2 weeks in the books and the action is getting more intense. Can the Nelsonville York girls keep their TVC title chances alive? And Megs takes on Vinton County with the TVC title on the line. Also, be sure to keep an eye out for our Beyond the Court segment, which takes place at Federal Hawking High School. Catch all these heroics and more by tuning into WEB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. Or you can follow along on social media. Once again, we're reminding you to be heroic.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
He invoked it on his first day.
America first.
He incited it through the rest of his presidency.
The Republicans understood the bargain that they were making with Donald Trump.
And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Trump's American carnage.
He was a rebel, a lover, a champion, a fugitive, a legend, and forgotten. Until now. PBS and Ken Burns tell the story of the greatest boxer you never knew. Unforgivable blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson.
Hi everybody, I'm weather forecaster Cam Kuznin, and I hope your day is going excellently so far. Right now over Ohio, there is an area of thick cloud cover, and that cloud cover persists throughout most of the Great Lakes region. This is evidence of a cold front that is approaching and will bring us the snow event that I've been talking about later tonight. That cold front is going to push ahead, but right now at 8 o'clock p.m., later tonight at 8 o'clock p.m., it will be 27 degrees and overcast ahead of this upcoming cold front. Light snow will begin at around 9:30 to 10 p.m., where it'll be 27 degrees. This temperature tonight will not be decreasing very quickly, and at midnight it will be only 26 degrees. The low tonight is expected to only drop a degree down to 25%, and we'll see snow impacting approximately 40% of our viewing area. Overcast skies and winds will be calm throughout tonight, but I would expect to see it pick up just a little bit as the evening progresses. Across the area, you'll see low temperatures mainly in the mid-20s with 28 degrees down in Arlington and a cold 23 degrees in Cambridge. You can see where the storm has tracked so far up in the Great Lakes, Illinois, Indiana, and it will begin to push through southeast Ohio. Tomorrow morning, we will see these snow showers last throughout the day. It will be 26 degrees at 8 o'clock a.m., 28 degrees at 10, and you will see a little bit of a break in the clouds towards noon as the temperature will begin to decline fast once the snowstorm stops. 30% during the day with a high of 31 degrees, and those temperatures will drop off fast. Sunrise is at 7:39 in the morning, and winds will be blowing north from 4 to 6 miles per hour, but will be calm during the morning. Across the region, our highs will be in the mid-30s down in Arlington, but as you get towards the north, Cambridge, Newark, Columbus will remain below freezing. Tomorrow's surface analysis, once this cold front passes through, we are going to see colder temperatures down into potentially the single digits at nighttime. And if you take a look at our 7-day forecast, tomorrow the high is 32 degrees with single digits on Friday and Saturday. Monday and Sunday, we'll see some areas with a little bit more cloud cover as those temperatures begin to warm up. And on Tuesday, we are seeing temperatures potentially in the mid-50s, and then another cold front will happen around Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see a higher temperatures with a 60% chance of rain. That's all I have. Back to you, Curtis.
Not really looking forward to all that winter storms upcoming, but thanks for the great work, Cam. An urgent warning about older cell phones. Major cell phone carriers are boasting higher speeds and thanks to the part of the new 5G rollout, but they're also set to phase out 3G networks this year, meaning that many cell phones will become obsolete. No data, text, or calls, including 911. Isabel Rosales reports on the gadgets that may no longer work, from your homeland security system to cars to medical devices.
A 20-year era is coming to an end.
The 3G shutdown is a natural evolution in the technology world.
3G is making way for the much faster 5G network. But tech experts, like Tom Camber with the AARP, are sharing an urgent warning.
The level of gravity is very high for us.
He says many Americans are not prepared for the wave of 3G devices that will soon lose connectivity. Older cell phones, some car navigation and emergency services, home security systems, and even some medical devices like emergency alert pendants might be useless without taking action. Camber says one group is especially vulnerable.
Older Americans are most at risk from this transition because, first of all, they're the group that tends to hold on to devices a little bit longer.
And I think it happened because
Tino Perez says he has seen firsthand the reluctance to upgrade.
They're more afraid to the technology, especially older people.
He warns those customers could be left in the dark without access to Wi-Fi at home, no more texts or calls.
Obviously, if they're using this type of phones, they're going to be out completely.
Even to 911.
I don't think this is on a lot of people's radar, to be honest with you.
Colonel James Manny, head of state police in Rhode Island, is working to get the message out.
Well, very simply, it's very serious. If you do not upgrade your 3G phone, you'll be unable to connect to 911.
Camber says, don't panic. It's a golden opportunity for some digital hygiene.
The first thing we want them to think about is just, this is a moment to take an hour and just do a check through of what kind of connectivity you have in your house that is mobile based.
If you have a 3G device, consider upgrading now. Or contact your providers for details on next steps. An upgrade doesn't have to break the bank. Cell phones can run under $200.
Don't get upsold on something that's not what you need.
I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
It is worthy to note that some of those older cell phones are able to text and call via only Wi-Fi at home. Some important deadlines regarding cell phone carriers include AT&T shutting down 3G next month, T-Mobile by July, and Verizon by the end of the year. On the bright side, some car makers like Honda are offering a free upgrade window on some models. Honda's deal ends next month.
Coming up in sports, Alexander girls basketball remains at the top of the TVC Ohio following a big win last night. Highlights and reaction later on. And right after the break, Ohio women's basketball is coming off of a big conference win yesterday against Toledo. That and more coming up next. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
2 weeks in the books and the action is getting more intense. Can the Nelsonville York girls keep their TVC title chances alive? And Megs takes on Vinton County with the TVC title on the line. Also, be sure to keep an eye out for our Beyond the Court segment, which takes place at Federal Hawking High School. Catch all these heroics and more by tuning into WUB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. Or you can follow along on social media. Once again, we're reminding you to be heroic.
This month in Passport on the PBS video app, your on-demand library for the best of PBS.
You're back. It's good to have you home, James. I'd like to have danced with you again.
If your toes get ticket.
You belong here. This is your home.
It completely shocked our theories of planets and how they form.
It's just mind-blowing. Very early on, I realized that getting attention was a very nice thing.
These and other shows are available with Passport on the PBS video app. Download it today.
He had a sound that was like nobody else.
He was a phenomenal entertainer. He was a phenomenal player.
I don't care who it is. If they're going to pick up the guitar and they're going to play rock and roll, they're going to start with Chuck Berry.
I wanted to sing like Nat Cole, with lyrics like Louis Jordan, with the swing of Benny Goodman, and with the soul of Muddy Waters.
He'll always be considered the king of rock and roll.
He was a rebel, a lover, a champion, a fugitive, a legend, and forgotten. Until now. PBS and Ken Burns tell the story of the greatest boxer you never knew. Unforgivable blackness, the rise and fall of Jack Johnson.
Hello everyone, I'm Juliana Colant. The Ohio women's basketball team is climbing the Mid-American Conference standings after a road win last night over Toledo. The Bobcats beat the Rockets 79-72. It was a tight race with Toledo leading at the half 38-37. Ohio pulled through in the fourth quarter with Cece Hooks and Erica Johnson scoring the Bobcats' final 15 points. Hooks led the way for Ohio with 30 points and added 7 rebounds with 4 steals. The Bobcats continue their road trip, facing Western Michigan Saturday afternoon. The Bobcats are ranked second in the women's basketball MAC standings with a conference record of 5-2. Toledo stands first with an 8-1 record, its only loss from last night's game against Ohio. Western Michigan trails Ohio in third, close behind with a record of 4-2. Buffalo and Akron share fourth with a record of 5-3. Ohio men's basketball travels to New York tomorrow for a matchup against Buffalo. It will be their first matchup since the Bobcats defeated the Bulls in last year's MAC championship. This season, Buffalo has a MAC record of 4-3. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. at the Alumni Arena. Head coach Jeff Bowles says he's looking forward to the only game these two have at the regular season.
It's bigger, more for, it's the only time we play them and it's at their place, for seeding purposes, for tie-break purposes. It's not ideal that they're, the one that we play on the road. And, kind of like Toledo, they're going to be ready to play. We beat them in the championship game.
Alexander girls basketball holds the top spot in the TVC Ohio following a 62-22 win on senior night. The Lady Spartans led by 7 points in the first quarter, then built that lead to 35-9 at the half. Wellston only scored 13 points in the second half, all for Madison Potts. The Lady Spartans shot a 45% from the field, but that shot volume was high. It was a memorable game for Alexander, with 3 seniors each scoring 16 points. Senior night was also special for Alexander head coach Jeff Grinstead.
I hooked Marley and Kara there at the end. I've coached them forever, man. We've traveled in the summer to AAU tournaments for the last 7 or 8 years. They've just been just part of me and my basketball life. It has never hardly been anything without them two in it, and the other girls as well, but we just spent more time in the summer and traveling and together and stuff.
Alexander hopes to continue its league win streak when it faces Meggs February 5th. Hardwood Heroes stays busy tonight covering many girls' high school basketball games. The Athens Lady Bulldogs play host to River Valley as they go for their 4th win in league play. Meggs and Vinton County also meet in the TVC Ohio action. Vinton County is still trailing Alexander in the standings. Rounding out the TVC Ohio action is Nelsonville York at Wellston. Eastern plays a non-conference battle at Jackson over the TVC Hawking. Follow Hardwood Heroes and WOUB.org for coverage of all the action. I'm Juliana, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Juliana. Speaking of great television shows, Amy Schneider's historic run on the game show Jeopardy ended last night in a defeat to Chicago librarian Roan Salzma. After not finding the correct answer to the clue, the only nation in the world whose name in English ends with an H, it's also one of the 10 most populous, Salzma correctly guessed, what is Bangladesh, ending Schneider's 40-game win streak. The Dayton native earned $1.3 million during her historic run, making her one of the best players in the history of the show. In a recent interview with The Advocate, Schneider said providing a positive representation of transgender people is the most rewarding part of her Jeopardy experience. She's also the first openly transgender contestant to qualify for the Tournament of Champions and will seek redemption against one of Jeopardy's juggernauts, Matt Amodio.
And tomorrow in Athens, we will see a high of 31 degrees, and this snow event will impact us. We will see no more than 1.5 inches of snow, but it is more likely we'll see around 1 inch. Across the area, the snow event will persist with highs in the high 20s up towards the north of our viewing area, with 34 degrees down in Arlington. And through the week, we will see higher temperatures on Tuesday, but we will see some more rain Wednesday and Thursday. Make sure you stay safe for the cold. That's all I have for weather. Back to you, Curtis.
Thanks there. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Curtis Fader.
And I'm Jack Demlin. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find all the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night. That's a good question.
Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient Tempstar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring Tempstar quality you can feel.